Welcome to the Foundation Infrastructure Working Group meeting. Let's dive right in. Did I update the attendance? Yes. Okay. Why is this in done and why is it green? It's reopened.
Robots probably don't check for that.
No, so the robots are wrong. Okay, so I think we're in pending review state here then, right?
You need to re-request the
Yeah, I know.
like,
I think they have not even been requested.
oh, I see. Those are suggestions. I thought they were from before.
Okay. We have 2 approvals. And last week we already got a thank you from Behan.
Well, somehow I missed
Nice.
And no one noticed this?
Noticed. Yeah. No. Like this was more of a, like it was a test, like give you the opportunity to correct it.
I saw you click merge. I think the robots undid it. This is the start of the uprising.
Yeah.
What are you doing during the meeting? Oh.
Okay. Right. Yeah, this is a big one, right? Yeah. So let's give yeah, this is the initial one. Let's give Brian a bit more time. This one we just looked at. Change is requested from Aram. Okay. We have here.
Yeah, I didn't have time to look into this, but I will try so that we don't have this before the end of the year.
It's no problem. So Ramon looked at this, and there were some issues. Okay, so this is on their review. Ooh, now the nice one. All PRs are nice, but I like this one. So I saw that you commented.
Not about the actual PR, just about his comments at the end about like, it'd be great if we could exclude the Golang package from compile. I'm like, yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that. We tried that.
Yeah, you had a similar thought, right?
Yes.
A while back.
I mean, it's still a good thought, but you have to change the metadata somewhere to account for it, because otherwise Bosch is like, these look the same and they're totally different.
Yeah.
But yeah, haven't had a chance to look at the actual code yet.
Yeah. Yeah. So for context, for Behan and the other people in the call, I think we discussed this before, but the idea is that the Bosch agent will take a new subcommand or have a new subcommand which allows you to give it a Bosch release and it will just compile it. And the use case for this is having an OCI image of a stem cell and being able to compile releases without having to spin up a director, which is great in CI, right? So you could use this on GitHub Actions or Concourse or whatever. So yeah, that's the use case behind this. And like, if we have this on top of this, we could start building additional abstractions, like a GitHub Actions compile thing, or a Concourse resource or whatever. So
yeah, sounds good.
So people have been assigned already. So yeah, we don't need a review from all the people that were assigned. It was more for visibility that I assigned Beyan and Joseph.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is interesting. So there's currently a discussion going on whether we need this, and that depends on like if Canonical, I don't know, like there's still discussions going on with Canonical on whether we're gonna need this. I hope to get something back from them by, I don't know, this week or next week. Because like the problem with snapshots is it doesn't support all the repos. For example, the Vips repository isn't supported yet. So like this would only get us a bit further with like having a reproducible stem cell build. So yeah, but it's good context to have here, but I don't think we should review and merge it now. Rather wait a bit on Canonical, give us more clarity.
This came up yesterday also, because Long is working on the LLM AI stuff, and he tried it requires some like kernel extensions and whatnot, and he tried doing that during like compile time or pre-start, and like it just doesn't work well. He ends up with the disk being full, nearly full. He's doing a bunch of symlinks, and so his future direction is probably a stem cell variant, in which case reproducibility based upon what he's varianting off of is still useful there, but we'll see. Not necessary for any of the sort of MVP work he's doing, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Yeah. So this will be we can leave it open, I think, for now.
Is there, I know VMware had and maybe will in the future, like an apt an apt cache, like you pull like a pull through cache sort of thing. That caches any packages pulled through it. Is that something that would solve this problem in a better way for
no, because it still doesn't pin it. It doesn't pin it to like a specific version. Like the time aspect is the thing what's missing.
But it would give us a general solution for the problem as far as like we could change the builder. We'd still have to change the builder to like, oh, these are the packages that were made for this version. I need to install those, but you would be guaranteed that that pull through cache would have those versions still because they were used for a previous build. It would solve the like our syslog problem and all the little minor things that are like the rsyslog one is terrible because even if you had the version, they don't have those anymore. They delete them like as soon as they release a new version. It's a thought. I don't know how much work it is and if the end result is better or not.
Yeah, I mean, we would have to have such a thing in the community.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
like a
even know.
major.
Yeah,
where to begin with that. Yeah, I don't know. Like all of this is painful. I know like some other communities what they are doing. Like so there's the what was it? The cluster API stuff in Kubernetes, right? Like they are also building VM images. But they are basically doing a thing that like they're basically rebuilding Bosch, but then within Kubernetes. So for that, they are also having to build cloud images. And to make those reproducible, they have this thing where they're caching all these packages in a container image, right? And then they are serving up this. So they are during their build, they are running this container image with all the embedded packages and serving up an apt cache or something, right? So you would like snapshot it that way. So that would be a way to do it with purely open source tools and not relying on like a hosted thing. You would just like have versions, yeah, cache images basically. But yeah, that's again a lot of stuff that we would need to build. So
Yeah, this is.
oh, I already opened that.
Yeah, that's from me.
I see.
Last week, I think we merged this documentation, but we missed to put it
I see. Yeah.
in MKDocs. Or I missed it, yeah.
Yeah, and people missed it in the review, but I'm just gonna merge this because this seems
I think
like
we need a lot of reviewers on this one.
Yes, definitely. The risk was high in that one. Stuff.
Lots of stuff. At least 2 full weeks worth of stuff. Yes, so moving it over. It's good. Ramon's not here. He's built a little bit off of what he's did, but basically changes all the bats run in the director pipeline to use GCP, change the upgrade to use GCP, sets up Terraform for those environments rather than doing what the stem cells do, which is just sort of have some, VPCs set up already and hard code the IPs when you run it. So this actually builds out the infrastructure and destroys it during the tests. Cleans up a lot of the deployment of the director during the Bosch tests. There's a generic sort of deploy director, and it was like, oh, let's enable power DNS still, and a bunch of ops files that were like empty now because they're the defaults. The brats got cleaned up a lot too because they were using these hard-coded passwords that like 4 sets of hard-coded passwords for RDS and GCP, for MySQL and Postgres, the whole combination, had a different password for each. They didn't actually correspond to a real database that existed, just used those passwords when it terraformed up to set them. And those were all stored in LastPass. So there's this whole chain of terrible data, presumably because at one point those databases were static, not terraformed up. But then it also, after terraforming up the databases, it had a bunch of scripts to modify the GCP ones to create the users and stuff. So that all happens in the Terraform now. So there's a lot of simplicity added to it. There's no chance that it passes the first time, but we can repair it after flying it to the open source.
So I'm gonna at least have Ramon look at it because he at least has context on this, right? He looked a bit at the initial attempt, and then for the rest, we're gonna.
Yeah, and I think a lot of his stuff sort of copy pasted what happens over in the stem cell pipelines when they run bats. So it's possible some of this cleanup can end up back there too at the end, the terraforming and whatnot, but not as the first step.
Okay. Yeah, so once this is merged, then this is, yeah, then we're
Then we can add
gonna
a
apply the
bats,
pipeline.
yeah, and then repair the pipeline over the
Yes.
course of a day or two.
Yeah.
And this is the preparation to move which CI to the
The
Director.
Bosch director.
Bosch
So
director?
then we can add a FIPS bats to it using the community stem cell, community FIPS stem cell. Get that tested.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
So this is in the critical part for FIPS testing of the director, kinda. Yeah, because I've been busy testing CF against FIPS. That was a lot of fun. So there's a lot of I learned things. So MD5 is not a thing anymore. MD5 is not allowed. I don't know. I don't think we have a lot of that in the director. And keys need to be an MD5. No, that's not a. And they have certain key lengths that they want. But I don't think we are generating a lot of keys, or are we? Maybe in the nets stuff, right? We're
Yes.
generating a
I think there are some.
Where's that? That's probably in the sync stuff, right?
The sync stuff just updates the permissions. They don't actually generate them, I don't think.
Oh, here, net server private. Is that the?
Whatever uses that
No,
is
that's
the
a
thing that
template.
generates them, probably. Oh no, yeah, that's the job stuff.
That's
Yeah.
the config for the job.
We were looking into this when discussing the US or USA.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we did. I just don't remember stuff.
Isn't that
It
creates?
does something with users here. User sync. That's the thing. Doesn't it? No, that's just syncing it. So there must also be. Oh wait, so we have the time when we generate the information that goes to the mbus, right? Like populating the client. This is just putting the fingerprint basically in the config, right? So when is the key is created?
Nats clients. It's called Nats client cert generator. I don't know how GitHub didn't find that.
What did you say?
Nats client
client.
cert.
Hello everyone, sorry for being late.
You missed all the good stuff. Here's it.
I'm so sad.
I mean, this is good. We're doing a manual audit of all the FIPS compliance stuff. Like I've been doing a lot of testing with FIPS and the cloud controller and learned some things. For example, this needs to be more than 2048, which it is, which is good.
Greater than or equal to or greater than?
Or equal to. So on cloud controller, it is 1024 for the Diego SSH stuff.
Quite small, actually.
Yeah, I was surprised as well. And this is good. I don't know. Maybe we will be good.
There was a large push 5-6 years ago when they made all the releases use SHA-256s to probably replace a lot of the MD5 and SHA-1s.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the issues. Oh yeah, I did. Wait, well, I pinged now that Benjamin is in the call. I pinged you on some docs things. There was one where Aaron had left some
I think the
comments.
fourth one there.
Okay. Yeah, I need to take a look. Right.
This one has a few comments that.
All right. All right. Almost okay.
This is just a tracking story, right? Yeah, it's assigned and this is being prioritized and work is on the way. I mean, I know a way better way of like dealing with that. Because we could just build a local Docker workflow, right? I don't know what that looks like, but yeah. Like for release development, it would also be potentially faster.
Yeah, a lot of times these compile VM problems happen out in the real world, it feels like, though. Like not the release developers, but like somebody trying to deploy stuff for some reason, compilation. Maybe not. I feel like I've seen it, but I guess a lot of times it is release developers. Yeah, be a good question here, I guess.
Does he mention look if it's
I guess that's more of a problem where your whole BOSH is just broken and the first VM that comes up is going to be a compilation VM and there's no way to debug it at that point. But I guess another solution to that is just deploy an empty VM.
the current work
It's interesting. Yeah, we've addressed that a few weeks ago. Interesting that they.
Yeah.
And I was saying I would do some docs about hints for the realisatory development cycle.
Okay, this is now under discussion. Just updated this one, right? Oh yeah, it's already gone. Any updates?
Nope. Well, that's not true. A week ago, they were like, we fixed it. Try it now. We're like, still broken. Still can't make them public. They're like, okay, we'll have our background team continue. They don't have a backend team. They have a background team that's going to continue to look at it.
Right. So I would say this is prioritized, right? This is being worked on.
We hope it's being worked on.
Like it's at least known, and we have an open
Yes.
escalation. And I'm gonna add. You have most context, so. Were there things that were updated since the 7th? The last was the 7th, right? Last meeting, yes. So no new activities. Okay. Any other topics?
Yes, one topic from my side. There is a draft PR for Bosch DNS release. If you can
Bosch,
navigate there.
Draft PRs basically do not exist. Release? No, probably not. It is.
Exactly, and so this is a topic that was discussed around a couple of years ago. I already refer it here in the note at the very bottom. So this PR, so this discussion PR. And if you scroll at the very end, so this is about allowing to view exactly what I think it was your comment, Ruben. Exactly, a bit down. Yeah, somewhere like 27th of January. And so that was about that we allow recursion logging for the Bosch DNS release because SAP is interested in outgoing traffic. And Bosch DNS is then the easiest way to log such traffic. And for that, we created a fork. And now we try to make it a bit different that it also suits the community here. And with that, I followed the same approach that you already suggested here, or very similar. So it will look something very similar from the manifest. So you see logging.
I saw it here. This
Exactly. Yeah. So a format is already existing. I just added now another subcategory called categories. And right now I actually instead of saying it's just recursion and we have to define what is recursion, it was actually more than enough for us to map it to the log tags. So it was if you would like to enable debug logging for the forward handler, we just add it here. And then in addition to the log level of the logger, then we just add also include the debug logs of the forward handler only. And yeah, and exactly here is this what it's doing. Here is looping at the the manifest or the configuration to append it to the structure, mapping it to the logger level values, so the integer values, and in the DNS main.go is just where we are actually passing this logger to the forward handler. I just call this method use categories, which did not exist before, which is now why we have a dependency on the Bosch utils. But then I did not include anything in the constructor. I thought just one method. It does not impact anything else. And if we call this method use categories and we pass in the configuration that we, yeah.
So there's also a PR against Bosch utils then. That's
exactly this. I think this is what you opened, the last one on the right.
That's last one. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And then in the debug log, so in this logger.debug or .error or so on, then I just change I add this, for example, on 119 here. Instead of checking the logger level only, I call this method l.getLogLevel, which will then compare both, basically the logger level and any category which exists, which is what you see in the very end, this git log level. So this is just a draft. If you think it's okay, this approach, I can continue on that. And
Why is it a draft? Like, is there anything missing? Or
the
can I
tests are missing. I'm still,
yeah, the test. So this is more of like a okay.
But the implementation should be more or less done.
Yeah. It seems pretty flexible, right? So this is based on it's just string matching then, right? For the categories. Did we already call that categories, or is that a new term?
We can call it anything. I just followed the same that was in the PR of the discussion.
I see. Yeah, no, then makes sense. I don't remember. I mean, like, it was a while, so I need to build up context again.
Yeah. I don't know if you think of a better name. It's also
yeah, no, I think makes sense.
It all seems clean and good. The only thing that would concern me, and probably isn't an issue, but we should look at, is this is just in the critical path of like checking each log message against this thing. And Bosch DNS is often very heavily loaded in certain workloads. So we do still run the stress tests, which I think is sort of a performance test. So hopefully if it did like, oh, this is actually, halves the performance of Bosch DNS or something, that would be revealed there. But yeah, I'm guessing that it's probably fine. Just seeing something in the critical path, it's always something to keep in mind.
Also, I don't see unit tests related to those new features.
No, that's what he said, right? Like, that's why it's drafts.
Okay.
Like, this is more like a reviewing the implementation direction before committing fully.
Waiting for GPT to generate that.
Yes.
Please don't miss new lines at the end of your face, like here.
Yeah.
Because afterwards you have better diffs when you are not forced to add some new lines.
That's why it's a draft. It's not 100% done yet.
No, but I think I like the interface, right? I like the flexibility because this is also future proof. Like, this would mean that you could like pick any handler or whatever you want, right? Like, with this implementation, you wouldn't have to make changes.
Categories does seem a little bit non-obvious. I don't know if there's a better term we can think of there.
Yeah,
Ruben, since you came up with the original back in the before
apparently,
times.
but I don't remember. It's previous.
I don't know if this should be like everything in this category section is basically everything that could be in here is one of the handlers. So I don't know if handler, config,
or tags, since it's normally a tag. Yeah, it's tags dependent. I can also change it to tags.
So that where it says name forward hand, is forward handler the tag that it's matching on?
Exactly.
Okay.
This is the one that we in SAP interested in, but of course the implementation is flexible to add anything.
Yeah.
So that's it.
So it's then part of the logger instance that is being passed to the forward handler constructor.
And in the final log lines, it ends up. Are the logs plain text or JSON? It ends up with a field in some JSON line, or how is it printed in the final log line?
The
If it
log
is
lines
text.
do not change, right?
Sorry, I did not get that.
How is it printed in the end?
There's no
Category.
changes. There's no changes.
This is just
No
about
changes.
filtering.
Exactly. It's just a filter.
To activate debug logs on parts of the possibilities. Okay,
Exactly.
right. And yeah, category is common terms used in logging. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember how the usual namings with Java frameworks.
This is interesting.
But
Right. Oh no, that's just right.
So every message, log message, has a tag as part of its parameter, method parameter, and that's why I thought instead of adding a new term, I just use the tags because it will be
Yeah,
more
but then
convenient.
then it like if it's already called a tag.
Then we can use tag instead of category.
Yeah.
We can use tags.
Yeah, like yeah. I think this
Yeah.
would be like an indication if it's already called tags in the Bosch utils, then I would want to stay with that.
Yep. Yeah. Then I will renew it to tags.
Yeah, because in the end it's the changes to the logger that probably dictates the name.
Mhm.
So yeah.
I did not like attributes as well.
Yeah, and so this will change the interface.
This will now be used tags, but everything else.
Yeah, but should be fine.
Wait, is that fine or does that break everybody?
I'm assuming we also generate the counterfeiter stuff, so people would also use our fakes.
But I mean, if somebody else, I don't know all
I
the
don't know if
usages
people
of this. But
yeah,
like
they
if
are
you have
using this
a different
implementation
logger, yeah, if you have a different logger, if it
that
doesn't implement
implements-
use categories,
then you have a problem.
yeah,
But like, what's the use of that? Like, why would you use our logger interface but implement your own logger?
don't know. So probably fine. Yeah, if you
Yeah,
pull
that
this
was
in,
my, like,
you're pulling it in at the same time. Yeah,
yeah,
there's ways around this, but yeah, I don't think they're worth it. I mean, we'll see. You know, all of our Go tools blow up if that's true when we merge it, I guess, and then we'll be like, oh, this is a logger with categories or with tags interface that inherits from the other interface.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a bit of potential blow up there, but I think we will. I mean, if you
We should see it.
have
if it happens.
chosen to use Bosch utils, right? You've chosen that as your dependency, then I think you, yeah.
You know, there's all those crazy people using Go Cigar.
Yeah. Sure, but that's, I mean, that's supposed to be that's supposed to be generic.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw that we did something similar with this RFC timestamp, right? I think that was also added later on.
Oh, is that a more recent thing? Yeah, it's probably won't break anything then. Yeah, and seeing very specific things like that in there, I don't think anybody's building a separate logger that implements all these.
Now I got excited about doing that. I'll make a separate logging library that uses this interface. No, it makes sense.
Yeah, and in fairness, there's no reason for an interface here. The only reason for an interface here is to make testability in Go. It's not because like this is an interface people can conform to. It's like this is a hack to let us test things because Go is very rigid.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, then I will change it to tags, and I will bring it up later on when it's complete. Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, looks like a good direction for it.
I also would have one quick question. I also created a PR in Bosch. I put it in the chat. But it's more just a general question if something like this is needed, because we recently introduced this deployment or deploy config. And so we had a story to enable metrics for this deploy config. So a metric that similar to what is done for the Resurrector. We have a
Why
metric
was
for that
this-
as well.
This PR is not in draft or anything, right? Well, it was just like
Yeah, it was
sneaked
just
in.
changed. Yeah, I changed it. I was not sure, that's why I changed 3 times.
Just last minute entries. I see.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, but maybe it's also not finished, so there's also some tests missing. But yeah, more general question: if a metrics like this would be beneficial, or yeah, if we should have our own monitoring for that. So it's regarding the deploy config, if there is a deploy config or not, and then checking if it's already there for 48 hours. Yeah.
Wait, what is that about 48 hours?
So if a deploy config is there for more than 48 hours, then it will, given or return this metrics. I don't know exactly why it has to be 48 hours, but that was how it was written in our story. Maybe it could also be like
That seems
just check if
really
it's there. Yeah, it seems to me it also.
non-generic.
Yeah, to me it also seemed like generic, but that was how it was written in our
It-
story. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it could
like,
also be deleted. Yeah, this check.
Yeah, it seems like you
Yeah,
would
I
want
mean, like-
metrics are emitted all the time, so it seems like you'd want to
Yeah.
know at that point of time whether there was deploy configs or not.
Yes,
yeah,
this is
maybe.
a word which should be on the other side, which evaluates the metric. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whoever's consuming the metrics, like, hey, has this thing been on for 48 hours? Because that probably means somebody forgot something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
this should not leak into here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a question if something like this would generally be beneficial or
I mean,
useful.
a generic config, like emitting if there's deployment configs enabled. Sure, and you can even maybe emit like the last updated add or something, right? Like that could be a metric, and then you can calculate it
Hmm.
potentially.
Sorry, the last
Well-
updated
Is
what?
that- yeah, like
The
last.
timestamp
Oh,
of the last update.
Oh,
So it
yeah,
would be
yeah. Okay.
because
Yeah.
Right.
in emitted metrics we try to focus on absolute numbers. So this would be an absolute number. So I mean, it doesn't depend on when you scrape the metric.
Okay.
It's an
okay.
absolute stuff. So
Okay. So
I would let you do
something
the-
like how long it
or-
has been there or something,
when it
Okay.
was created, yeah,
or when it was created. Okay.
or like updated. I don't know, but yeah, this calculation doesn't
These
make
are-
sense.
These are solutions to solve the 48-hour problem without having
Yeah,
to rely
yeah.
upon metrics being pulled constantly. So you could at point in time know, is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
But I don't know if that's a thing we do in other places, right? Like the simplest is just like Boolean, like do we
I mean,
have
you could
one or
emit-
not?
You could emit two, like, is there one there? And like,
Mhm.
when was the oldest one created as a separate metric or something, if you wanted to more easily do
Yeah.
this? I feel like you could also do the 48 hours with just a Boolean, but then it relies upon your metric scraping sort of,
Yeah.
and you being able to construct a query in your metric system for like, how long ago did we first see this change?
True. Yeah, it's a lot more flexible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. Then thanks for the feedback.
No problem. Nothing else? Then thank you all for joining. I think the next week's meeting will be there, but the 28th will be cancelled. Yes,
Yeah,
so the
just-
21st we will have a meeting still. the 28th. Unless, I don't know, Joseph, will you be there the 28th? Could do
No,
it alone?
I will be where there
Oh.
is no internet.
Okay, so yeah, so there's no people then. So Chris already reached out and he's gonna cancel that.
I got the meeting invite canceled.
Yes,
But I
yeah.
still don't know how to change where I get these invites because they're still going to my VMware, which is not working.
Yeah, like the
Are they not
TOC
handled through
meeting,
that?
the TOC meeting they updated. They're switching to this LFX thing. So LFX has this meetings platform.
I saw
and
that.
the
And I went in
working-
there and I was like, ours isn't in there, or at least I'm not
Yeah,
in there.
so
on it.
the working groups are gonna be managed through that, like starting next year.
Okay,
So
I'll just wait then.
I wouldn't bother. No.
You can send a check with Ram.
Yeah.
Change your email address in the invitation. Just reach out to him.
Okay.
Also, it's just a public meeting, so you can also join if you're not in the meeting.
Yeah,
the
but I
invite.
went to Zoom today and it didn't show me the meeting because it's only linked to one calendar. I'm like, oh no, I have to go find my old calendar and find the invite.
Let's see.
I'm a simple man. I can't handle two calendars.
Yeah, no. So if it's that urgent, I understand the urgency now. It's definitely a big problem for you. So you must reach out to Ram.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. Take care.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you all.
Bye.
See you next week.
Thanks.
Bye.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye.